UFC London hosts another brilliant fight, this time involving Paddy the Baddy Pimblett versus Rodrigo Vargas. And if you know anything about Paddy the Baddy, you know he's going to talk the talk here and really show what's what. But before we get into it, guys, this video is sponsored by Full Reptile Collective, brought to you by Dan Hardy. Head over to their website at fullreptile.co.uk where you can find anything from training gear, t-shirts, hoodies, all the way to coffee. For an exclusive 10% off, use Dan Said So at checkout. Make sure to also check out their YouTube channel for some of the best MMA content out there, bar my own. Let's get back to the video. Alright guys, let's talk Paddy the Baddy, because he's a controversial figure. In the UK, he's very Marmite. People love him or they hate him. I absolutely adore the guy. He has so much charisma. He's super confident in his own abilities. There's so much technique with this guy. There's so much brashness about this guy. He just exudes brilliance and pay-per-view sales in the future. He is going to be the future, in my opinion. Win or lose, he will always be entertaining. He's had a phenomenal career to date. He's turned the UFC down once before. He came in for this one. He faced Luigi Vendramini, took a massive shot in that first couple minutes, which at the time, I know Bisping said on the interview he nearly finished him. I also thought he nearly finished him. I've watched that fight back a lot. I take back he nearly finished him, but he definitely hurt Paddy. This is in my view, and people might say he didn't hurt him. Paddy himself, you know, I know he said I wasn't hurt at all, but the only reason I say that is because I have watched Paddy his whole career, and no one has ever taken him down as easy as Luigi did in that. And to me, the only way he would have got taken down that easy is if he got slightly hurt. His recovery time was almost instantaneous when he bounced straight back up and then put the pressure on Luigi and absolutely laid into him. His hands are lightning. He looked physically better than I've ever seen him before. I think a few years ago when he lost to Soren Bak, you know, and that's a tough guy as well in Cage Warriors at the time, moved on to Bellator and he's beaten like people like Terry Brazier, you know, big guys for the division. He was riding Soren Bak and nearly killed him very quickly in that fight. Kind of gassed himself out a little, in my view anyway. There's a lot of learning curves, and I think Paddy Pimblett has done that already, hence the long career he's already had. You know, 19 or 20 fights before he even joined the UFC. Really did finish someone like Vendramini. That is super impressive to finish Vendramini. Vendramini is a very good opponent, especially to have in your first, you know, in your debut in the UFC, is your first opponent in the UFC. Vendramini is a very good mixed martial artist. And if you're going, yeah, but has Paddy fought anyone of note at all? Soren Bak is a brilliant name to have on your record. He beat Julian Erosa when no one knew who Julian Erosa was, and look at him do well in the UFC at the moment. People really think he's good. So Paddy has all the skills in the world. He's falling in love with his hands. He's got great hands. He really does. His boxing is very good. What they do up there in Next Gen in Liverpool, their boxing coaches up there are phenomenal. You've got Molly McCann, who is a boxer, essentially, in mixed martial arts right now. Loves her hands, and you can see it with her head movement, with her, even with her footwork. How Paddy and Molly move is quite similar in lateral movement. You know, they distance manage very well. I know Paddy got caught, but that is not him. He said in the interview afterwards, my coaches don't teach me to hang my head up like that and, you know, hang my chin in the air. He knows he's got to sort it. He just loves to fight and loves to scrap, and that's what you're going to get from him. You're going to get an exciting fight, but you're also going to get a technical guy, because his bread and butter is his ground game to me. All his early career, you know, go watch his flying triangles. They're some of the best submissions you'll ever see in your life. Paddy has it all. He's got incredible distance management. He's super technical with his striking. He exudes brilliance. And his ego and his confidence, his whole persona is just there to be sold. But he's got all the skills to back it up. He is an elite level grappler. But I don't know if he's going to rely on that in this fight. I think he wants to show off his hands. I think he wants to make statements. I think he wants to get some knockouts. And I think he can take this fight against Vargas anywhere he wants. So we'll move on to Vargas quickly, and we'll talk about the Zhu Rong fight, because that was his last one out. You know, everyone thought he was probably going to get killed by Zhu Rong a little bit. You know, this young kid, experienced for his age. I think he was 21 years old. He's got explosive hands, super good leg kicks, moves really well. Against a 34, 35-year-old at the time. I think he's 36 now. He might have been 35 at the time as well. Vargas is at the other end of his career, where Paddy's at the start of his UFC tenure. and he's going to be a mainstay. You let Vargas in, he'll land those body shots, he'll land that lead left hook. He does a good calf kick. He showed it against Zhurong. He actually managed the distance against Zhurong very well, considering we all thought, a lot of us thought, the majority thought that Zhurong was going to take control of that. Vargas seemed to take control of the centre. He could hold him in the guard as well. He's not known for his ground game. He's been exposed many times, even by guys like Brock Weaver in his, the time before Zhurong. When you lose to guys like that, Paddy's going to eat you alive. He can exploit this fight wherever he goes. He's not going to be sitting and waiting. He's going to be pushing that pace. He doesn't care if he has to take a shot to land two, because he knows his two can clean you out. He is not afraid to throw any form of strike because he's not afraid of the ground. He has got phenomenal wrestling. He's got brilliant cardio. He looks physically better than ever. He can pull guard. He will slice through your guard and take your back without any problems. And if it goes to the feet, I will bet you he will knock you out as well. He's a real problem for all the guys that are not ranked, especially. And whilst Paddy works his way through these divisions, or through this division, I can see not many obstacles facing him. I hope he does face a bit of adversity before he gets to the ranked guys, because I fully believe he is going to be in the ranked guys. Hopefully not too quickly, but you know how the UFC like to push a superstar, and Paddy, he's up there, man. He really is up there. You're going to see UFC London. The roof is going to come off. The crowd is going to be nuts for this guy. Let me know, guys, what you think is going to happen. To me, it's kind of it's not a mismatch, but it's close to it. I don't think Vargas has many opportunities to win, but the way he can win to me is he's going to have to really make it dirty. He's going to have to push Paddy against the cage. He's going to have to wear on him, lean his body weight, wear Paddy down, get into that later round and try and land a couple body shots in the later rounds. Really work on the cardio of Paddy, because Paddy's going to be super active. He's going to be landing heavy shots, heavier than you'd think as well. Vargas, I would argue, is a stronger individual, but I think Paddy's going to land the cleaner shots. I think he's going to land with volume, and he can take the fight wherever he wants to go. It's a real tough one. But let me know, guys, who you think is going to win. Leave a comment down below, guys. Share it around. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers all.